Hey, it's Ruben from Dove. We are on Connection Loop, our podcast, and we are here with Simi Arora. The first thing that I noticed about Simi on her LinkedIn bio, actually, it says that she helps business leaders eliminate stress, attain fearlessness, purpose, success, happiness through mind mastery programs. I'd love to learn a little bit about what you do and how you are helping people do exactly those things.
Hi, Robin. It's great to be on the show. And thank you for having me and asking me this wonderful question. Well, I'm passionate about bringing the change in people's life by allowing them to meet their real self and then be able to master the mind. Now, this is really important because a lot of times what we really identify ourselves is with our mental stories. And that is what really creates the emotion pattern in our brain, which allows us to make certain choices and take decisions in our life. So, the more we are in tune with our real self, the better decisions we take because our emotions are right in the place where they should be. So, this is kind of also influenced by my personal story, my personal journey, which has been instrumental in kind of building the foundation for what I do, which probably we should be talking about as well, I guess.
Well, I actually love to ask about people's origin stories, and they're never linear. They're always very diverse. I'd love to hear how you got to where you are now.
Great. So definitely like to share this because I think this is one of the most important fundamental reason of turning around my life and also be a big part of the purpose behind whatever I do right now. So I came from India in 2012, and before that, I was actually working with a very large group and traveling all over the world. So I was not really fascinated by New York as such, but my destiny had got me here through a marriage. And it turned out to be kind of an abusive relationship. And I really had gone through some quite a lot amount of like mental turmoil and depression. And eventually we got divorced. And I was really devastated at that time because it was quite new for me in this country. And on top of that, I didn't tell my parents that I was divorced, and they were sitting in India, and it was really difficult for me to tell them that I have taken this step. But I felt that if I had to take back a little bit left control over my life, I had to step out of this house and start to, begin a new life for myself. So there was a lot of guilt, shame, feeling of worthlessness, feeling of this, why this happened with me. These are some of the things that I constantly thought about. And I did get a job and I started learning how to drive and stuff like that. But one of the major things that happened with me around that time was that I got into anxiety disorder and depression. And I was, prescribed antidepressants, which is the norm, right? If you get those mental health issues. So I was kind of lost. And there was a point when I felt so trapped that I became suicidal. And it wasn't because I was lacking the willpower. It wasn't because I wasn't having the self confidence. It wasn't about that. It's because when you get trapped in mental health issue, you just kind of become hopeless because it's kind of a chemical trigger in your brain that allows you to feel trapped in a certain situation and you don't know how to get out of it. And the turning point around that time was when I realized that there was nothing external of me which was going to fix me now. No other relationship. And I didn't have friends. I didn't have the family. It was only me by myself in a small little apartment. And I had to figure out whether I'm going to be living or just going to be finishing this story forever. So it was just about the personal experience of extreme fear and feeling myself at the rock bottom that actually brought up just new idea of exploring myself and discovering, who I really was and what was something that I was not aligned with that brought me to this place where I'm like absolutely broken. So it was just a longer spiritual journey and starting from one place leading to another and opening the layers of the being and understanding how to utilize your mind, how to empower it, how to train it to get success in life. So yeah, so it was quite a personal journey for a good 4 or 5 years that brought me to another level of transformation in my life.
Well, I mean, I need to say this that in so many ways, that is such a hero story for me to hear. And I have so much admiration and I have so much I'm so impressed that you can come forward with the clarity and with the confidence and with the honesty to say that that is something that you've gone through in your life. Because to be very frank, one of my biggest, I think, frustrations about a lot of different types of cultures you and I are both from India, so we're of South Asian descent, but there's this idea where everything has to be perfect on the exterior. We need to put off this front. We need to drive the Mercedes Benz. We need to have this degree that's hung on our wall. Everything needs to be prim and proper. We go to the temple, we're religious and pious and everything's perfect, right? And it's so sad to me because in so many cultures, so many individuals are dealing with so many real issues, of being stuck in situations, mental health, overall happiness, not living their best life, not pursuing their best being, if you will. And I think what's so interesting about your story is that as challenging and as much turmoil as you went through, you're sitting here now with me and you're sharing this story. And now you have this successful company and you have all this influence and you're teaching people now to overcome these issues that you actually endured yourself. That's profound.
Thank you very much.
I really see that. And I wish that more people had the confidence to come out and say, you know what, this is the shit that I went through in my life. And now I'm here and I'm a better person because of it. Because I've always believed that it's the suffering. And I don't want to, speak lightly of what you've been through, but it is truly the suffering that we have gone through in our lives that makes us who we are.
Right, totally. And I also believe that in the time of suffering, I mean, if you choose not to suffer and if you want to do something about it, you have to stand up for yourself and then really, start to, first of all, take a pause and, try to understand what is it that is making me suffer? What part of this emotion is triggering this kind of, really bad feelings inside? And I also really kind of understood the fact that when we don't come up with our authenticity, when we are not authentic in our life, that puts a lot of pressure on us. And as you said, rightly, in my case, when it was all about talking to my father, especially that I have taken this step and I'm probably going to be dealing it with myself, I was so afraid and I was making up these stories in my head about like, what is he going to say to me? How would he deal with this? He's going to be really depressed because obviously as an Indian parent is too attached with me. And the idea of how the kids should be. And I guess a lot of the things that we continue to build as a story in our mind about what could go wrong. And eventually, when you really got to know after what 1 year time frame, it wasn't that bad. He was, of course, like very depressed about it, but he didn't make me feel too much guilty about it, which I was thinking that he would probably come at me with a very different kind of approach, right? So I realized that a lot of things are not as bad as we, think they are going to be. And this is why our mind always either keep on living in the past, comprehending living in the future. It's never in the present moment. But it is in the present moment that we can do something about it. We can take the right action and make sure that we don't repeat our mistakes and probably do something more amazing, which is in tune with our true self, which is in tune with our values and the things that we want to assign meanings to. So it took me a lot of courage to stand up and talk about my divorce on social media because I'm not born and brought up in America. I'm born and brought up in India. But I think I came up so confidently, and they saw that I was living alone in US and I could do this. I could, take care of myself. So they also kind of changed with me over time. And another, probably something that I would probably like to share with the viewers is about how I got into this practice of coaching, because that was another layer of transition. Because first thing was just to fix myself, to get out of the depression and fix this panic attacks, which I was getting every second day, going to the hospital, getting admitted, and all those 9 yards. First thing was that, and which led me to, when I started to open myself, I realized that I was not meant to be in Time Warner's office. What the hell I was doing there? Yes, I'm a star performer, but this is not who I am. I don't relate to the people around me. There was this itch, there was this continuous trapping of my soul, which was telling me that I got to do something else, but I didn't know what exactly was that. So I went online and I just started to think, I need to start to share my story about my discovery about to other people about how I healed myself. So I should do this certification of life coaching. I just came across that page where they were teaching how to become a life coach. So I did my certification. Even till that time, it was never in my mind that I'll be running this good sized business one day.
With Dub, you can easily send your business videos from Gmail, LinkedIn, CRMs, and so many more places, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Absolutely perfect.
Screen records, landing pages that can really help businesses to grow.